Hello, everyone. My name is Amna, and today I'm going to be presenting the audiolingual method of language teaching to you. Just give me a second to share my screen. So today we're going to look at the definition of the audiolingual method, the features and characteristics of ALM, the strengths of ALM, weaknesses, and then I will do a short demonstration of what the audiolingual method might look like in a classroom. As the name suggests, the audiolingual method focuses on teaching the oral skills of a language. So the audio in the audiolingual refers to listening to the language, and lingual represents producing the spoken language. It was introduced in the mid-20th century during World War II when there was a need to learn foreign languages for communicative use. The world became a smaller place and interaction between different cultural groups increased, which led to the exposure of foreign languages and the need to learn them for communication. The methodology of the audiolingual method is based on the theoretical framework of behavioral psychology, which was a very popular focus of research at the time. It emphasizes on the conditioning and habit formation for learning. Therefore, the teaching practices of the audiolingual method are rooted in mimicry and memorization, repetition, and overlearning of language patterns. There are a few key features that belong to the audiolingual method. We are going to go through them one by one. The very first one is the minimal use of L1 in the classroom. So the audiolingual method is actually influenced by the direct method, which focuses on using only the target language in the classroom so that learners are exposed to the target language the same way babies are exposed to their L1. They'll get a lot of input in the beginning, and they will start producing the language at one point on their own. Mim-mem or mimicry memorization refers to the learners mimicking what the teacher is saying, either what the teacher is saying or what the audio tapes are giving. They're going to mimic whatever spoken language you're given. They're going to mimic it and then memorize. For example, if they're exposed to a vocabulary item such as bottle, they're going to mimic the teacher's pronunciation and memorize that vocabulary item. Repetition and overlearning of language patterns. So memorizing and perfecting pronunciation through repetition is very important for the audiolingual method. The same vocabulary item or the same sentence will be repeated a number of times in the classroom until the learner memorizes the sentence or the vocabulary item. Material is presented in spoken dialogue form, not written. So either the teacher themselves will be speaking or they will present the students with audio tapes. In any case, it will be a spoken dialogue. Grammar and vocabulary is taught inductively. The focus of the lesson is not to teach the grammar. The teacher may briefly introduce them to the grammar points, but the main focus of the the main focus of the lesson will be teaching them the sentences or the vocabulary items as a whole. There's a huge importance attached to pronunciation. So the main point of the audiolingual method is to improve oral proficiency in being able to accurately reproduce spoken language. So pronunciation plays a big part, and the teacher will focus on correcting pronunciation of students in the classroom. It is focused on the listening and speaking skills of language, not the writing and reading skills. The audiolingual method classrooms are teacher-centered. The teacher is the main focus of the classroom or the main person that's giving the input for the language. The students are passive learners. The strengths of audiolingual method. They're good for acquainting students with the phonology of L2, especially for familiarizing them with sounds or sound patterns that do not exist in their native language. For example, the sound pattern of M and N together does not exist in the language of English, but it does exist in Arabic. So if an English speaker is trying to learn Arabic, that sound combination will be new to them. And if the teacher is using the audiolingual method where they're repeating one vocabulary item over and over again, it will be easier for the students to pick up on the language pattern and the language sounds. Learning L2 independently of L1. As I mentioned before, it follows the direct method. It's a strength. that the learners will be using the target language in the classroom and not the first language, because the more they use their native language or a common language in the classroom, the less they will be able to understand the L2 independently from the first language. Introduction to grammar in a less daunting manner. So grammar is not introduced to them directly. A lot of learners find it very difficult to learn sentence structures in the very beginning, especially if they're new to the language. So it's a plus point that the audiolingual method does not enforce grammar directly, rather it introduces grammar in a softer manner. The last point is L2 taught in a way for immediate communicative use. So the learners will be exposed to the spoken language in a way that they're able to use it in a communicative environment. For example, they will be taught the sentence, "My name is Amna," or "I am this many years old," where they will be able to speak to a native language speaker and be able to answer the questions. Even though the audiolingual method has a lot of strengths, it also has a lot of weaknesses. It focuses on retaining drilled vocabulary and is dependent on the individual practice of the individual practice outside of the classroom. What I mean by this is that in the classroom, the vocabulary items or the sentences will be repeated a number of times and it's drilled to them. However, it can only be practiced a number of times and not enough times for each learner to be able to memorize it. Therefore, the students will have to use their time outside of the classroom to be able to memorize it and keep it retained in their memory afterwards. Repeating the same words and sentences can lead to a loss of attention. So if the classroom structure is in a way where the teacher is constantly making the students repeat a sentence, even though they're new sentences. If the students keep doing the same thing, repeating what is being said, they will lose their focus. And we know that in order to learn and retain new information, attention is very important. Little to no focus on communicative competence and reading and writing skills. Um, we saw that audiolingual method mainly focuses on the listening and speaking skills and gives no attention to reading and writing skills. And about communicative competence, even though the students are able to memorize phrases they were taught, they're not able to produce language on their own creatively. Errors in language learning lead to deeper understanding, which ALM ignores. It is not an effective method on its own. It needs to be incorporated with other methods to be effective. This was all I had about the audiolingual method. Now I will be doing a small demonstration to show what an activity in an audiolingual method classroom might look like. So in these classrooms, the teacher only uses the L1 to tell the students what they're supposed to do. It's basically not translating the information they are receiving in the target language. It's just a teacher instructing them and how to follow them. For example, if I use the target language Urdu and the native language here is English, if I want to introduce this object and be able to tell the students what this object is in Urdu, I won't tell them that this is called a book in English and in Urdu it is called a kitab. Instead, I will take the book, I will point at it, and I will tell them to repeat after me. I would say, kitab. Repeat after me. Kitab. Kitab. I will make them keep repeating after me until they're fluent with their pronunciation of the word and they understand that this object means book in Urdu. Now, the same vocabulary item can be introduced in a sentence later on so that the students know where they could use it. Since I taught them kitab, I won't tell them a sentence they can use it in and make them translate it to or from English. I'm just gonna say, ये मेरी किताब है. ये मेरी किताब है. ये मेरी किताब है. Repeat after me. I'm going to make them repeat this a number of times until they understand that this is my book. That's what I'm saying. So that's how you can conduct an activity in the audiolingual method. And this is all I had for today. Thank you.